everybody. The new Barfield here. Welcome to Writer's Corner. So, the question we've all been asking, what's new with me? Well, I'm in the panhandle of Florida now, so there's that. We're looking to be here forever, actually, or at least for an extended period of time, knowing me and my family. So what else, panhandle of Florida? I got my room organized, so that's pretty cool. It's all clean now and everything. I can actually walk across the floor. What else? I need to cut my nails. Oh, so. Than that, I've been enjoying swimming and planning out this video. Now, I know there are a lot of videos on how to outline your novel, many by respected YouTubers that I enjoy, like Vivian Rice, Jenna Breesy, Ken Chance, all of them. However, everyone has their own way of doing things, and maybe I can bring something unique to the table here, besides just being a guy, but let's not get into that. So, maybe my tips will mesh with you better than theirs will. Maybe mine will complement their advice. I don't know, that's why I'm doing it. Also, this video comes as a request, and whenever you want people to buy your books, you gotta keep your fans happy. Well, 20 of them. No, why do we even need to outline anyway? Well, there are a lot of answers to that question, and so many have been given, but here's mine. You want a good product, right? You want to deliver a good story. That means you need to organize, inspect, review, and critique your novel either before, during, or after the writing process. You're welcome to convince yourself that your favorite movie ever made was done on the whim of the directors and the writers, that the actors improv the whole movie, that the score was just thrown together through creative expression by the musicians, but that's not the case. So you may want to consider outlining something if you want it to be anywhere near as good. I mean, even this video is outlined. If 6 tips on how to outline your novel sounds like a good idea to you, then stick around. If it doesn't, go watch one of my other videos. I'm pretty sure you'll find something you like. But now, shouldn't I be focusing on outlining my project right now? What's the deal? Hold on. Getting a small project done, like writing an easy book report, organizing your room, or filling out a character bio that's so satisfying, is one of the great ways that you can get started. It commonly fills you with a sense of accomplishment and makes you ready to work. Now that you know that you can get something done. A statistic? Here you go. Forbes magazine asked organizational management professionals about the habits of productive people, and one of their tips was to use part of your day, they recommend in the morning, to focus yourself before a project. Combine this with the information that we get from a study done by the University of Warwick. This says happy people are 12% more productive, and boom! Now you just gotta do a little project before you get started outlining, preferably one that's gonna focus you and that you enjoy, and outlining will just be a little bit easy. Number 2, start at the beginning. As you outline, break the chapter down, summarize it, list the major elements at play. Is the plot being driven forward? What character development and world building is going on here? What subplots are introduced? Go ahead, list them all the lists! With 3, update your outline. Please, 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 for the love of all that is good in this world, update your outline. You take a 2-month writing break and you come back and you decide, my antagonist motivation needs a little work. Reflect that in your outline. The point being, your outline and your novel should be telling the same story. For 4, go top down. Though, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a nerd. And I play video games, mostly RPGs and strategy games, which means I'm commonly, I'm looking down at a band of 4 plucky adventurers in the middle of a battle, and I'm having to take a step back and look at the long haul of this fight. Or that means that I'm zooming out from my settler to look at the surrounding resources, and also trying to manage rising militaristic hostilities between myself and Greece. Screw you, Alexander the Great! I'm good. But this is something you should be doing often, getting a bird's eye view, zooming out and looking at your story as a whole. Your outline is the big picture of your story, and you should do it as such. Just as you regularly update your outline for the changes you make, you should also regularly critique your own outline. Look at it with a hard eye and see it for what it really is. I don't mean get self-deprecating and be like, this is a pile of crap. I mean, look at it honestly. Maybe your dialogue is flat, but whenever you do exposition, it's fantastic. I've been doing this about every 4th of the book or every time a major change happens, and I'll leave that decision up to you. Number 5, trim the fats. One of the advantages of having an outline is being able to see your novel clearly. You can see it clearly now. But this also means that you can get rid of unwanted details just as easily. If you're struggling with adding something to the outline and you don't know if it's necessary or not, my recommendation is don't add it. You may end up being able to go back and beef up that part of the story because it turns out that detail was needed. However, if you add it in while you're struggling with the prospect of it, it may be more difficult to trim it out and remove it after the fact since you went through the trouble putting it in the first place. I oftentimes go back and trim at the end of my novel. However, sometimes, whenever I don't feel like writing but I want to be productive, I go back through the outline and I trim out the extraneous details of my story, and then I implement those changes and the writing itself. This oftentimes puts me back in a writing mood, as an added bonus. Remember, just like having Christopher Walken play an animated singing Gigantopithecus, just because you can doesn't always mean you should. Number 6, but what should it look like? Whatever you want. It honestly depends on what you want and what's going to satisfy that sick, twisted writer brain of yours. Some people like to create outlines on big poster board with lots of post-it notes, and you know who you are. Some people create diagrams and special notebooks specifically created for outlining and outlining and outlining only. Keep your hands off my brushes! Some people, like myself, outline and organize everything on the computer. My tool of choice is Microsoft OneNote. I separate every chapter into a tab, and then every tab is broken up into pages, every individual page representing a major section, organized chronologically and adhering to theme of each chapter. My character list and diagrams are in notebooks outside of this. I'm not a control freak. Basically, you can make it look however you want as long as you can keep track of your story. Secret bonus number 7! If you're a sporadic writer like me, then it may be helpful for you to outline after the fact and make outlining part of the editing process. So that way you can better organize your story and get a full top-down view of it. Oh, you wanted a step-by-step breakdown of how to outline regardless of writing style? Well, I don't really. Okay! Start at the beginning. Outline every chapter. Create separate outlines and lists for character development, plot structure to the best of your knowledge. Summarize each chapter, including relevant information. Only write chapters that you've done in your outline. Make sure that you update your outline with edits as you go through your story, and review and critique your story every 1/4 of the way through the book. Repeat until you're finished with your story. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any requests or questions, please feel free to ask me either in the comments or on my website, www.arc-storm.com. Also order my novel, Legendland, this fantastic piece of literature right here, from the usual places, as well as from my website, ArcStorm. And if you order off of there, I'll personally sign it for you. And I won't even sign it in a purposefully crooked fashion that would drive your OCD insane if you notice. You're welcome. Hope you found these tips helpful, that outlining is a little bit easier now, and that you continue to enjoy. You, want to know my real problem with Christopher Walken singing in Jungle Book? It, needed more cowbell. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stalk me online at Facebook, Twitter, Goodreads, and YouTube obviously. Please subscribe and comment below. Now if you're wanting the whole Legendland package, check out Legendland Tale of the Nameless God on Wattpad, updated every Friday. Watch some of my other videos, you might see something you enjoy, and I hope to see you next week.